there, but sometimes the manager here, Maresca's ignoring the obvious. So I wouldn't have had O'Reilly playing as a 10 last week. Now surely he's going to be left back, and he can then become the inverted fullback, get into midfield from left back. So just keep it simple. I think maybe at the start of what could be, continued success for Man City, people writing them off. But I'll tell you what, they've been so ambitious in the transfer market, they really want to do it again.
Remember, Enzo Maresca said he saw Mark Gahey as a central midfielder. So seeing the obvious is very much a
well, he might not play there tonight, of course, because they could easily shift O'Reilly into that midfield position, put Gvardiol at left back, and Gahey plays his regular centre-half spot. I don't know whether it's
He doesn't seem to want to play Gvardiol in central defence, does he? He wants to play him at left back. So, I suppose it gives you flexibility, but, sometimes it's like, where am I playing, boss?
We're going to find out very shortly indeed. One thing that I will say as the players come out here at Selhurst Park, fantastic noise as always. It is nowhere near as intimidating an atmosphere as you would usually get at Selhurst Park. Away to our right hand side, those Holmesdale fanatics are usually dressed in all black. They're making huge noise. You have these pyrotechnics going off. It shudders the soul. There's none of that tonight. No black shirts. The fans dressed normally, as you would expect around the rest of the ground, in their Crystal Palace home and away shirts. No ultras at Crystal Palace anymore. Definitely a change in the atmosphere here today.
He's not having it.
Are you saying you can only have atmosphere if you have, unless you, if you have ultras?
I'm saying it's less intimidating.
Well,
that's what I said.
I'm not feeling that. I'm actually looking at it today and saying this looks like a united.
Would Martin
stadium,
Keown in his playing days be intimidated by this?
We didn't have ultras back then.
We
just had fans. We just had normal fans who made a hell of a lot of noise, let me tell you.
Would you be intimidated by this?
This is a throwback ground, isn't it? I think that's why we enjoy coming here. We all know they should invest. Steve Parish, please do something to this stadium, inject some money into it, and then you can actually commercially you can make more money, and you might not have to sell so many players. There's an option to do that, but for some reason they don't. So we enjoy, don't we, coming back here for this unique atmosphere.
It is.
And even if there's no ultras, it's still unique.
Just not as unique as it usually is. That's all I'm going to say on that. Remember Wrexham against Birmingham in the Championship, about to begin on TalkSport 2. Download the TalkSport app. Move seamlessly between North Wales and South London. But here, two teams with question marks hanging over them. Are Manchester City prepared for a tilt on the Premier League title? And can Crystal Palace avoid a relegation dogfight? They meet in your live and exclusive top flight action on TalkSport with three-time Premier League winner Martin Keown and Joe Shannon.
Well, for a second there, I thought we were going to miss kickoff talking about the Ultras just for a moment. It's not just in the dugout where there's a sense of a new era at Manchester City. Another week of ins and outs, and the biggest of all, Enzo Fernandez, may yet still be to come. Meanwhile, Pierre Sage has a lot to live up to at Crystal Palace, and it's been a tricky start on and off the field. But is tonight the night he starts to find his feet in the Premier League? Crystal Palace have Henderson in goal, Convo, Richards and Tomiyasu, Halili, Wharton, Kamada and Mitchell, Pino, Nketiah and Strand Larsen. And the teams have turned around ahead of kick-off here, so Crystal Palace will be attacking the Holmesdale Road end in the opening half. Manchester City with Donnarumma in goal, Kusanov, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly, Anderson and Gahey, Foden, Cherki and Semenyo behind Haaland up front. And what a way it is to start a bumper Premier League weekend on TalkSport. We'll take you to Anfield tomorrow lunchtime, to Aston Villa on the Monday Night Football, but we begin under the lights in South London at what is still one of the top flight's most atmospheric venues, and this might just be the night for Crystal Palace to kickstart their season. Of course, Manchester City will have other ideas, live and in full here on TalkSport. The City players have given a rapturous ovation over on the far side of the field to their supporters, and we are just about off and ready to get underway with Crystal Palace in all white with blue and red sash across the front of the shirts and blue and red trim, and Manchester City all in black with yellow socks and yellow trim. Crystal Palace from left to right get us off and underway. Manchester City playing from right to left, and an early header away by Ruben Diaz. And I have to say, in the opening minutes, in the opening seconds, it looks like Gehi is starting in central defence, Martin Keough.
Yeah.
After all of that.
Of course. So, it's like we said, keep it simple. And that's a basic, and he's gone back into that position. Gavardio, though, I do believe is a central defender, but he's playing left back. So, it's looking a lot more balanced already.
And O'Reilly is in that central midfield role. It's the tall, slender O'Reilly who has poked the ball out of play. A very successful week for him, the PFA Young Player of the Year. And now Convo at the other end for Crystal Palace. Away to the left-hand side, and Tomiyasu, who funnels a high ball down the far side of the field, the left-hand touchline. Kamada beaten to it by Ruben Diaz, who scoops the ball out of play, and it's a Crystal Palace throw. Great noise around the ground, the tight confines of Selhurst Park, the first home game of the season for Crystal Palace, and the first home game for the new manager, Pierre Sarge, or the head coach, as he's known. Enzo Maresca, the Manchester City manager, looking stylish as ever to the left of him. Nketiah, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Early chance this for Palace, goes on the outside and tests Donnarumma, who plunges to his right and turns it behind for an early corner.
Yeah, Nketiah there looking lively. I actually thought he showed too much of that to Diaz, but somehow he gets his shot in and he's just parried out for a corner.
Well, we're in the main stand here to the right of the halfway line and looking at the Holmesdale Road end, which is on its feet and making quite a racket in these early stages here. 0-0 the score. This is Talk Sport. Corner whipped in high, punched away by Donnarumma through a crowd of players. Kamada nudges it back out wide to the far side of the field. Kamada with a reverse ball, neat down the left-hand touchline. Cross is blocked. Pino it was with the delivery. The ball hoisted high up into the South London sky, and they've got it back again. It's into the penalty area now. Kamada with a curling effort, takes a deflection and goes behind. There's that Selhurst roar. Crystal Palace have their second corner of the night.
Yeah, good start from Palace. Kamada coming inside, good shot from distance. Donnarumma looks really nervy, doesn't he, from set pieces. We saw it last week against Bournemouth. Nobody in on him at the moment from Palace, but he didn't really clear that with any conviction, that earlier ball that came in.
Pino will take the corner. Beaten at Everton last weekend, Crystal Palace, and that corner is well claimed by Donnarumma. High above his head, the giant goalkeeper, 6'5", on the corner of the 6-yard box, and he'll throw the ball out overarm to Cherki, who came off the bench to spectacular effect against Bournemouth last weekend. City off to a winning start in the Premier League.
Just trying to slow it down here, aren't they? Man City. Cherki just puts his foot on it, and they're not in any kind of rush, because Palace have started really well, using that momentum of this crowd, despite the fact there's no ultras here.
Anderson, red boots on, number 5, midway inside his own half, and now Gehi, who got a terrific reception from the Crystal Palace fans as he walked off after the warm-up.
That's nice, isn't it? That's
Yes.
a touch of class.
That's how it
Absolutely,
should be.
absolutely.
When you're as loyal a servant to a club
He's
as
been a
Mark
hero.
Gehi was.
A hero at the football club, isn't he?
And no Sarr, no Mateta tonight for Crystal Palace. Both reportedly are injured. A hamstring injury, it's being reported for Mateta. Who knows? Both are very much linked with moves away from the club. Early stages, and it's Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0 here on Talk Sport as Palace win it back high up the pitch. It's played forward now to Wharton. He'll nudge it wide to the near side, the right. Pino nearly trods on the ball, manages to find Halili, the new wing-back, very versatile player Halili, and he's forced an error from Gavardio, and he's asking for more from the crowd, and they respond in tandem, up out of their seats. Crystal Palace throw.
Oh yes, they like that. Orchestrating the crowd. In his first game, look at the space he's got here. Oh. He should have been given an early throw there, but they're hell-bent on sending a long ball in here, Palace.
Well, Richards is going to come across and take it on the near side of the field. Richards with the long curly hair, high into the penalty area, only half away, and Nketiah had a swing at it, hit by Mitchell from the edge of the box on the volley. Rather tame effort in the end, and it drifts behind for a goal kick. But Crystal Palace have made an excellent start, Martin Keough.
Yeah, And we are looking here through the girders, aren't we, and the speakers and you name it. We talked about throw background and barely see the action. Somehow it makes it more captivating, doesn't it, when you see this early energy from Palace.
The low slung roof and the pillars right and left. You look to the left, Martin, and I'll look to the right. Okay?
Yeah, we'll share this role.
Forward by Gehi, high and long towards Haaland. Haven't mentioned him in the game so far. Got a great record at Crystal Palace. Wharton sees it back to goalkeeper Henderson.
Just a moment there, just to talk about Wharton there, winning the ball in midfield very cheaply off Anderson, who hasn't really settled in properly yet at Man City. Here he is again, this time a lot calmer.
And O'Reilly teases it back to Gehi, who's got just a little bit of strapping on his left wrist. O'Reilly, socks rolled halfway down his shins. A square ball to Gvardiol. Manchester City from right to left in the first half towards the White Horse Lane end of the ground. Semenyo raiding down the near side touchline and trying a cross that is driven high up into the air off the feet of Halili and behind for a Manchester City corner.
Semenyo really looks sharp, doesn't he? And then you've got Foden on the right hand side, now moved again to a slightly different position. Semenyo on that left looking at his best. Corner to Man City, make it be an in-swinger. Looks like it's Cherki out there. He's signalling, isn't he? One hand. I wonder what that means. Is that going to be whipped into that near post?
He's calling Semenyo to come short, I think. Here is Cherki. He has done, rolled the ball low along the dead ball line to Semenyo. Now he gets it back, finds Anderson, edge of the area, curling shot, well saved by Henderson. Up go the players for the rebound, and Haaland stabs it goalwards. It's cleared off the line. A real scramble on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Crystal Palace survived only just.
Yeah.
It was very nearly 1-0 to Manchester City.
It was nicely worked, and Anderson's on the edge of the box. He whips one. And I don't think the goalkeeper gets kind of the flick on it that he wants. He's trying to put it round the post, and he puts it back into play, and they struggle to clear that ball, Palace.
He sort of palmed it straight back into the danger area, didn't he? Dean Henderson, rather than deflect it away from goal. And Gehi was among those stretching to reach the loose ball. He couldn't quite get on the end of it. Ruben Dias was there as well, but Crystal Palace smuggled it away from danger. All the way back it goes to the orange-clad Donnarumma, and now Anderson dropping into the defensive line and picking out Kusanov on that far side, the Manchester City right, number 45. Manchester City have it now with Gehi out to the near side of the field, and Semenyo taking on Halili, who sticks out a leg, manages to half poke it away, but Semenyo's got it back again, and he's surging into the area now. Little dink in towards Haaland, and Foden at the back post. Goalkeeper kicked it away against the leg of Foden, and then the deflection allows Henderson to pounce back on the ball.
Yeah, and down that left-hand side again, and I think Henderson, he feels it's some sort of pass back, so he doesn't go with his feet. Strangely, he goes with his foot, and I think he should have gone and got that with his hands.
Meanwhile, lots of space for Halili down the near side, the left. Gvardiol out of position, low cross in, is steered upfield by Ruben Dias. This is a very open and entertaining game through the first 8.5 minutes as Kamada sweeps a high ball. Crossfield out to the left, Tyrick Mitchell brings it down. Mitchell dead ball line, playing it backwards to Tomiyasu to hoist across in, header away by Gehi. You get the sense the first goal cannot be far away. Halili tees up Pino to pull it back, the offside flag is up. It'll be a Manchester City free kick. A breathless first 9 minutes.
Yeah, that must have been close. Pino there making a really good run in behind the fullback. Halili playing a nice ball. He started the game really well actually for Palace. Just having a look at the replay there from Anderson, and it is a little bit of a melee, and they're quite fortunate, Palace, to get that ball away in the end.
Well, Haaland had a stab at it, and it was cleared off the line with goalkeeper Henderson nowhere to be seen, having made the initial save to deny Anderson. But a very up-tempo start, and Crystal Palace, who were guilty of wastefulness, you'd have to say, at Everton last weekend, a little fortunate that they're not behind here tonight. As Tomiyasu brings the ball out of defence, picks out Strand Larsen, square ball to Nketiah wide to the near side. Halili is onto the ball, two in the middle to aim at. Halili, right corner of the penalty area, held up onto the left foot, nudges it back into the path of Pino to drill it in low. In the way on the slide is Gehi. That was a much tighter offside.
I don't think he's off there. It doesn't matter because the play has stopped, but the flag has come up. But really good play. Halili on this right-hand side. He's really smart there, isn't he? Because he doesn't have many options, and he plays a reverse pass. He stops it with his right foot, plays it with his left, and I thought Pino was in there. Good play again though, and they look exposed, City, don't they? When you really go after them, they don't look comfortable at the back.
He is one of the new signings, Halili, isn't he, from Union Saint-Gilloise over the course of the summer. Can play right back, wing back, on the wing, or up front. Very versatile sort of play.
Let's see if he can defend now. Semenyo up against him. It's going to be quite a battle, that.
That's one of the key battles you feel over the course of the game so far. 11 minutes in, Palace 0, Manchester City 0 on TalkSport. Foden, all left foot, right corner of the penalty area, back to Kusanov, who drifts the ball high into the box. That's easy for Henderson, catching practice, and a big call from the goalkeeper for Convo to leave it.
That was always the goalkeeper's ball. Kusanov, we know he's got pace, but he looks a typical central defender playing right back, doesn't he? And he's not really got much finesse when it comes to this. There's work to do with him, but for sure.
Yes, not a great deal of refinement in that cross from Abdul Qadir.
What you do know is that if you don't produce now at Man City, they won't be afraid to sell you. You know, we've just seen the amount of activity, players who've not really been at the club that long.
Yeah, Reinders being an example, Nico Gonzalez.
There's a long list now that they'll change you if they don't think you're good enough.
James Trafford has gone over the summer, and of course the stalwarts, the likes of Stones, Bernardo Silva and Rodri, have all gone. So they'll be reunited with Rodri in the Champions League phase, will Manchester City, the draw that was made this week. Here is Cherki, the number 10. Cherki, so fleet of foot, such an enigmatic talent on the ball.
You want him higher up though, don't you?
Yeah.
You want him in that pocket just behind. Wharton there's got him in front of him. When he starts trying to find that space in behind, he's a problem.
Ruben Dias on the halfway line for Manchester City. Early ball to O'Reilly. Back now to Kusanov. Certainly not a game to take your eyes off. Do not adjust your radio, because this has the feel of a match that could explode into life at any moment.
They've just been really patient now, City. It's interesting, O'Reilly looks much more comfortable than Gahey in that midfield berth.
Kusanov, lovely way to pass down the inside right, well intercepted on the slide by the former Arsenal man Tomiyasu. First Crystal Palace start tonight for him. Kamada nudges the ball forward towards Nketiah. He sent Anderson sprawling, the ball poked out of play for a Manchester City throw over on the far side of the field. That's the City right. The last game that Martin and I did together was Manchester City in London at Fulham, and they won 5-4. So hopefully that's a good omen
and they
for
went
tonight.
They did, but Fulham came back in that game, if you remember.
They did, or nearly did. But I think it was 5-1 to Manchester City at one stage.
What a
Here
ball
comes
that is.
Palace on the counter-attack. Strand Larsen holds it up well, looking to thread it through the middle towards Nketiah. Not enough on the pass. Kusanov there to intercept.
No, but Wharton, a lovely ball outside of the left foot. Did just caress that into the channel for Larsen to run onto, and I think he picks the wrong pass, because Nketiah there's not got the wheels, has he, to get past Kusanov for that one.
It's interesting when you look at this Crystal Palace kit this season, the all white with the sash, the blue and red sash. It's not quite traditional Crystal Palace, but it is something different for the season. Still that sash and the blue and red trim at least.
The sash gives it away.
Here goes Semenyo, blocked off by Halili in the right back position, and it'll be a Manchester City throw.
Halili looks as if it's a good interview, isn't it, so far?
Yes.
If he's interviewing for a position, it looks, or audition.
Well, who knows, because Munoz is now being linked with a move to Nottingham Forest, isn't it?
Well, he's sitting on the bench tonight.
Yes, he is.
So maybe they're reluctant maybe, but I suppose I've just been told he's got 2 years left on his contract. Maybe he's the next one out.
Here comes Foden for Manchester City. 25 yards out, square ball to Anderson. Anderson back out wide, Kusanov joining the attack. Low ball in, skewed, mishit by Kusanov. He gets the chance to head it back into the penalty area now, and then the ball thumped upfield, high beneath the floodlights by Halili for Strand Larsen to chase. Nipolis Gehi out of the way. Now he looks to take on Ruben Dias. Ruben Dias just about holds him up, and then Strand Larsen is penalised for tugging back the Portuguese central defender, and it's another free kick for Manchester City. But the crowd like that, and again he's calling for more from the home support.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of an upgrade. You're certainly seeing a little bit more press work there from Larsen, really determined there. Even when he actually couldn't get there and made the foul, he was still wrestling with the City player and asking for the fans to get behind him.
Well, I don't think it's any quieter than you would expect a Crystal Palace match to be, though the team have started well, and that always helps get the fans behind them.
Exactly, giving the fans something to cheer about here.
Wrexham 0, Birmingham 1 is the latest score. Phil Neumann has put Birmingham in front. That's live right now over on TalkSport 2. Just download our free app to swipe between both stations.
New contract for Chris Davies.
O'Reilly looking for Foden down by the dead ball line. They were beaten 6-1 by Brentford in the League Cup in midweek. But Brentford are a top Premier League.
There's no embarrassment in that, is there? Goodness, they could have beaten the Spurs by 6.
In by Semenyo, and Haaland! The header is in! And Manchester City lead inside 17 minutes. It's their main marksman who's got it. Erling Haaland with a looping header, his first goal of the Premier League campaign. And it's Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1, just like that.
Yeah, there's no substitute, is there, for quality. The Predator strikes again. We know his record here at this ground and in London in general. And it's about marking in the box, and we know there's 3 relatively young central defenders, and you've got to pick him up. You can't give him the kind of space. Semenyo out on that left-hand side, comes in on his right foot, and it's a looping cross, and I think it's Richards who's the nearest player to him. He makes no attempt to jump. It's far too easy, keeper no chance.
And a looping cross and a looping header over the top of the goalkeeper. And Erling Haaland now has 6 in 6 in the Premier League at Selhurst Park and continues this amazing record in London. Since August 2022, he is the 9th top Premier League scorer in London, despite, of course, not actually playing for a London club. Remarkable record he has in the capital.
His goal return since he's been there, I mean, even before, we know, don't we, there's absolute quality. He stays here long enough, he'll have all the records. That's one thing that's in place for City, for sure.
Top Premier League scorer in 3 of the last 4 seasons, and Erling Haaland has struck again. And it's Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1 after a bright start from the home team. How will they respond to going behind? Yet to score under Pierre Sarge, though of course his only game in charge so far was that defeat to Everton last weekend. Manchester City have a throw, and it came out of nothing, didn't it, Martin? But when you give Semenyo too much space and Haaland the room to jump, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the basics, as a young player, I'm being taught touch tight in the box, get your body in the way, and it's a slow reaction. Of course, he got that height advantage, he has a tremendous leap, and he certainly knows where the goal is.
And more live football tomorrow for you on TalkSport. We'll have Liverpool against Nottingham Forest at 12:30. Then Adrian Durham takes you around the grounds for all the goals as they go in. Watford against West Ham in the Championship is live on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And the Monday night football is Aston Villa against Arsenal. Free kick to Crystal Palace, which Convo will take. Enzo Maresca, very energetic and demonstrative on the touchline early on here. And his side looking for 2 wins from 2 to start the new Premier League season.
Yeah, and I think that's a gear change from him, isn't it? Having watched him in the opening games of the season, he's now out of that armchair.
Miscue by Pino on the halfway line. Manchester City retrieve possession with Cherki. Cherki scampering down the inside left, catches Pino, and in front of the watchful eye of the referee Andy Madley. That'll be a free kick to Crystal Palace with 20 minutes in and Manchester City lead it 1-0, live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. And Crystal Palace now have a free kick. Convo plays the ball forward, 20 yards, given away to Gehi, who immediately concedes possession himself. Kamada back on the ball the Japanese midfielder for Crystal Palace. And now Convo with a very heavy touch, that could be costly. He's out of position, he's giving it away. Elliot Anderson striding forward, finds Semenyo, left corner of the penalty area, low ball to the back post, nearly reached Haaland and Foden. Foden will retrieve it in front of the hordes of Manchester City fans on the Arthur Waite side of the ground. And Convo a little fortunate that he wasn't punished for the error.
Yeah, and you just saw there just a couple of mistakes from him, and then you think, oof, you know, this is a step up in class. Can he manage? And City, they sense that weakness, don't they? You know, calibre of player now in the Premier League is so high, and there is a certain amount of gambling on any signing. You know, we've seen the right back here looking a decent player, but he's getting worked as well. Semenyo looking really back to his start of the season really well. Semenyo, as he finished it last year.
Well, perhaps winning that battle so far, at least you'd have to say so, based on these first 21 minutes. Semenyo again taking on Halili down the near side, the Manchester City left. He'll roll it back 20 yards or so to Gehi, and now Gvardiol with a good ball in field. Good run by Anderson, edge of the area. Haaland takes over, back to Anderson. Anderson for Foden, over the top. Big chance for Foden. Yes, the angle was against him, but he's only 8 or 9 yards out, and he's curled it over the top, left-footed.
Yeah, lovely football. Semenyo on the left, weaving it back into midfield. Anderson just looking to thread things in. It comes out to this right-hand side, and Foden is in 10 yards of space. What is he? I don't know, just 10 yards out.
Glorious chance.
Gaping opportunity to make that 2-0, and he misses it. Maresca can't believe it, by the way. He's head in hand.
Well, Foden was likewise. And now Maresca's back to hopping up and down on the touchline again. This is as you say, a slightly different side to Enzo Maresca.
It's a new look.
New job and all that. Pino in the right back position, his own right back position for Crystal Palace. It's cleared upfield, and Nketiah's header is loose. Straight to Foden. Now Haaland 30 yards out. O'Reilly takes over possession for Manchester City. O'Reilly shoots some range. Deflection on it of Richards. No, referee didn't think so. Goal kick given. He's
got his arm in the air, hasn't he, O'Reilly? And he's just telling his teammates, you know, lovely bit of skill from him, by the way. Maybe it deserved then an opportunity. It's a drag back nutmeg, but he then screws it wide, doesn't he? So, no, I think he should have looked for another pass. But O'Reilly actually looking good in that midfield role.
Manchester City trying to turn the screw here on Crystal Palace. A little flick by Strand Larsen, who nearly lost his boot. Gehi steps in to win it back effortlessly on the halfway line. Manchester City had possession with Cherki, and he's tying his bootlaces still here, Strand Larsen. I think he was just caught on the ankle perhaps. Foden away on the right hand side, rolls it back to Kusanov, and suddenly there's a dominant feel about the game for Manchester City halfway through the first half. And not only do they lead 1-0, but it could and probably should have been more than that. Crystal Palace can't get the ball at the moment, Martin Keough.
No, although they're forcing Man City right back to their goalkeeper. I think they're just growing in confidence, aren't they, City? You know, You can see that. I mean, they would have been hurt a little bit. I mean, all those comings and goings from the dressing room, it does make you a little bit weaker, but this is the start of a new beginning now, isn't it, for these players and the manager? You can see the manager is far more animated than we've seen him so far this season. Palace need to respond now.
Pierre Sage patrolling the touchline, the former Lens head coach who attracted interest from Liverpool in the relatively recent past. Here is Nketiah on the halfway line. Good turn by the number 9, but he has to go backwards to Mitchell. Has a trophy-winning pedigree as well, Pierre Sage. He won the French Cup with Lens. That's the first time they'd done that last season. Pino beaten in the air by Cherki. Haaland knocks it wide to Semenyo.
You say that, but the ball he was receiving was ridiculous. There was no care on that ball from Richards. But of course then they lose it, and now they have to give away a cheap free kick in a wide position.
The faintest of touches from Pino.
He's saying to his teammate, he's got both hands in the air, keep it on the floor.
Yeah.
If you're going to pass it to me, a bit more care.
Well, not enough care about the Crystal Palace performance at the moment. It's Manchester City who are looking to double their lead, and Cherki has the free kick a yard or so infield from the near side touchline. It's level with the edge of the 18-yard area. And Crystal Palace have brought everybody in the white shirts with that red and blue sash back to defend it. Cherki, one arm up into the air, hoists the ball in high, looping right-footed, punched away one-handed athletically through a crowd by Henderson, and the goalkeeper's touch carries the ball out of play eventually for a Manchester City corner. And Foden has placed the ball down now on that far side in front of the City support. Guehi is forward, Ruben Dias is forward, Haaland is lurking right in front of the goalkeeper here at the White Horse Lane end, away to the left-hand side, whipped in high by Foden, headed away by Convo, good thumping header clear. Now it's dropped to Kusanov, he'll roll it square to Anderson. Anderson 10 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Foden is level with the edge of the box. A jinking turn as he looks to get away from Tyrick Mitchell. He can't do it initially, Foden. He's going to have to go backwards here. Surely he does. All the way back to Donnarumma.
He's done well there, Mitchell. He stuck to his task, forced it all the way back into the City half.
And here is Anderson on the halfway line, going backwards himself. Back to the feet in the end of Ruben Dias. No win in 8 in the Premier League either side of the summer for Crystal Palace. Their last victory was in April here against Newcastle United, but no sense of panic at this stage, albeit the number of players reportedly linked with moves away and perhaps keen to leave the club would be a concern for any supporter, and you could understand that.
Well, they could do with those two on the bench tonight, couldn't they? Mateta and Sarr would be nice alternatives coming back from injury, but they're not available.
No, both reportedly injured. Here is Guehi, number 6, forward to Gvardiol for Manchester City, and now Anderson just shy of the halfway line. Anderson whips the ball towards the left-hand side, cleared away by Convo, drops for Halili on the halfway line, and a clever square ball to Strand Larsen. Pino nearly through to Nketiah. Good interception by Guehi on the slide, on the stretch. Foden forward to Cherki over the halfway line, and there's a big gap at the back for O'Reilly to exploit. O'Reilly heading forward into the area now, forced onto his right foot, plays it back to Cherki. Cherki gallops forward, crosses, and it's cleared away in front of the goal line again. Foden with the glancing header, and Convo stopped it from hitting the back of the net.
They look rampant there, City.
Well, that's 2 off the line, Martin Keown, in this first half.
And it kind of wasn't a convincing clearance, wasn't it? The Palace player's trying to clear it, and it just lands at the goalkeeper's hands, and he gratefully picks it up. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on this young back three at the back. What's been left, really, I suppose, with all the sales that they've had. Lacroix leaving the club, Guehi leaving the club, playing here tonight, of course, against them, and it's
Charlie Riyad out injured. That's a long-term injury, apparently, as well.
And Tomiyasu wouldn't have played a lot of football, I can tell you that.
No, he has not. First start for Crystal Palace tonight. Made his debut off the bench in the defeat at Everton. Free kick to Crystal Palace, midway inside Manchester City territory. We've had nearly half an hour of football live on Talk Sport, and City lead 1-0 at Selhurst Park, a ground that they enjoy visiting. They haven't lost here in the Premier League since April of 2015. Free kick, Crystal Palace, whipped in by Pino, headed away by Foden, first man in the near post. It'll bounce down to Kamado, away on the left-hand side, looks for the run of Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu left-footed cross, only half away. Eventually City clear through Haaland of all people, up to the halfway line. Haaland now charges out of defence, the goal scorer like a man possessed. Manchester City concede possession, but it doesn't really matter here because Crystal Palace not making any territorial gains. They still have it midway inside their own half.
I think Palace just pleased to have a little bit of possession here.
Good ball, Halili, threaded down the near side, the right. Strand Larsen is after it, down on this near side, 10 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Anderson is across, and then Strand Larsen gets a foot in, and it's out of play near the players' tunnel, which is away to our right-hand side for a City throw.
Bit of credit there for Anderson. He looked a little bit what you'd expect, what you saw in a Forest shirt there, the way he shrugs his opponent off.
Tenacity.
Yeah, aggressive. You know, like, okay, I'm in charge now. I thought maybe let's not forget these players came back late from the World Cup. Fitness isn't always at its best. Slowly he's going through the gears, getting back to where he was.
And now Semenyo going up through the gears, surging down the far side, the right. Mitchell gets there first, does very well.
Yeah, he used his body exceptionally well. Semenyo there having to go the long way round. In a 1v1 situation, Mitchell's very good defensively.
The acceleration there had to be terrific, and it really was. And Henderson with a short ball, he's nearly given it away. Kamada nearly caught out by Haaland, and still they tried to play through the defensive third, Crystal Palace, and they smuggle it away. It's a City throw in the end, but Convo, Henderson and Kamada looking all very nervy there.
Convo's making me feel nervous here when he gets the ball. You feel for him, don't you, because he's just coming in to this level and he's just had a couple of touches. He just needs a bit of help around him. That's where you need that experienced player on the pitch.
He was increasingly vital as last season went on, JD Convo, and he started 20 of the last 21 Crystal Palace matches. They were lucky not to get caught out there, and I think Enzo Maresca and Manchester City will just be disappointed, Martin, that they're not more than a goal up here.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit more ruthless, and they could have been. Phil Foden particularly had a glorious opportunity.
Here is Anderson, midway inside his own half the field. Anderson, chest puffed out, strides forward, picks out Gvardiol right in front of the two dugouts. It's one back by a combination of Helaili and Pino. Now Nketiah, the number 9, has fouled Anderson. It was a foul right in front of Andy Madley. He was only 10 yards or so away from it.
It was, but credit Anderson the speed at which he then gets that tackle in. Nketiah just ends up reacting too slowly, kicks him in the back of the heel. Free kick, wins the ball back for his team. He's setting his stall out tonight.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is. Dictating the pace of the play. Foden out on the left for Manchester City. He seems to have switched wings with Semenyo, but he's lost the ball. Crystal Palace have it with Helaili on the halfway line. He's just pushed it into the path of Anderson, who is everywhere tonight. Wharton carries it over halfway. Wrestled to the ground by Cherki. That will be the game's first yellow card. Little doubt about it.
Do you know he's got to look at the referee as if to say, "What, me?" Do you know?
Yes, you.
But you know what you want is you want your players getting around the ball, and Cherki's just got involved there. Yes, I'd say that is a yellow card because he's the wrong side of his opponent, and he pulls him back.
We're in the 33rd minute. Palace looked very bright early on, but City have since taken control. Crystal Palace have it with Pino from the free kick, driving into the area. Strand Larsen's header drifts wide of goal when he was free inside the penalty box. He's gone down on his knees close to the penalty spot, and he floated the header wide. Donnarumma was statuesque, his feet rooted to the spot. I think he might have been offside. Had the goal gone in, VAR would have had a good look at that, and I think he may have been a half a yard offside, Strand Larsen, but it wasn't given on the field anyway.
Well, I think he was trying to emulate his international colleague, wasn't he? But it was another one of those loopy headers, and he just couldn't get it on target.
One back by Nketiah. Now Kamada, edge of the D. Kamada wide to Pino. Pino delivers over the top of Nketiah and beyond Strand Larsen as well. It'll be retrieved on the far side by Mitchell. Mitchell surges forward into the penalty area now. Cross takes a deflection. Comes back to Tomiyasu to swing one in. Headed away. And now Manchester City try to break, but Chris Richards has beaten Erling Haaland to it. Palace 0, City 1. Early ball in by Helaili is headed away by Mark Gahey against his old club. You're listening to Talk Sport. Convo spots the run of Wharton down the inside right. That's a lovely ball, and the header is wide by Mitchell at the back post. Crystal Palace with their best moment of the game, and they were not too far away.
Yeah, again down this right hand side, and Wharton whips in on his right foot, by the way. A beautiful ball in, and Mitchell sort of stoops to get down to it, and his header is poor really from that angle. Okay, it's a difficult skill set to get that on target, but I'd expect better from there.
Terrific noise at Selhurst Park. Better from the home team. playing from left to right in the first half, so attacking the traditional home end, the Holmesdale Road end with its 2 tiers. Pino on the halfway line, the number 10, jinking forward, nudging the ball up to Strand Larson, who didn't seem to look. He didn't know he was being played in there, Strand Larson.
You know what, you can forgive him because on the opposite side of the pitch is the pass to Mitchell, and it's ignored. Pino should be changing possession there, out onto that left-hand side. Mitchell in the mood tonight to get forward, because he's the wing-back, so he's got that space to run into, and I don't think Foden was anywhere near him there.
Still Wrexham 0, Birmingham 1 in the Championship. That is live tonight on your home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, who will bring you commentary of Watford against West Ham tomorrow at 3. And here on TalkSport, we've got Liverpool against Nottingham Forest for you at 12:30 tomorrow. Out on the left-hand side for Manchester City is Semenyo, who's set up one for Haaland already tonight. 1-0 to Manchester City. 9.5 minutes of the first half remaining, plus any added time. Anderson's got the ball, he's fed O'Reilly, good dummy by Cherky, but Haaland not quick enough on the uptake to beat Convo to it. Pino then slides in and catches Haaland. Haaland limps away gingerly, and it's a free kick to Manchester City midway into opposition territory. Well, it's not quite Martin Keown been 5-4 so far, but it's certainly been very entertaining.
Yeah, 100%, and you feel that City really, when they're in charge of this game, they've got to try and finish it off, because Palace have shown some good character, bit of personality, new signings, one or two around, and City will give you chances though, and at the moment they're just not taking them, Palace, when they get them.
They look vulnerable, City, to the ball threaded up the inside channel, especially on this right hand side, as Foden crosses from the far side of the field and in swinging with his left foot, and is blocked away by Eddie Nketiah. Palace have played themselves in down this right hand side on a number of occasions, but the ball in has been lacking. Can't say that about Semenyo with his cross for Haaland, as Halili gets across and tucks it out of play for a Manchester City throw.
Halili's an interesting signing. We know what he's
minded, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but he's actually can defend there. But Semenyo, he wouldn't have faced players of this quality that often, and he's doing all right in there. I like him.
Wharton scoops the ball forward towards the halfway line for Crystal Palace. The floodlights on here in South London. The sun continuing to set as Gvardiol marauds forward. Lovely run into the area. Tees up Semenyo. Left-footed shot. Beaten out by Henderson at the near post. That took a deflection as well. Good stop by the goalkeeper. Weaving run forward by Joško Gvardiol, who scored the winner last weekend. Palace can't counter-attack. But now they can. Nketiah in the centre circle. He's waiting for runners either side of him. Nketiah has to hold it up, and he's done so effectively here, driving up to the midway point of the City half, and then it's given away by Kamada, albeit there was a handball in there by Cherky, and I think he might have given a free kick for a foul on Nketiah a little earlier on anyway, the referee. Good hold-up play by Nketiah.
It was, but you know, the fans were urging him, weren't they, to go towards that goal, and he couldn't really, because he was attracting defenders with him, and he threatened to go back and then went forward. He was really clever there, and he gets a free kick for his team in a dangerous area.
Well, can they load the penalty area with white shirts here, Crystal Palace? Richards is forward, so too Convo, so too Tomiyasu. Pino standing over this free kick towards the far side as we look at it. The Palace left, right-footed and in-swinging, headed by Richards, and not enough power behind it. Too tame.
Well, that's because it hit him on the shoulder, do you know, and he's really fluffed his lines there, Richards. That should be being powered across the goal. Just take a look at the replay here. How disappointing is this? Look, hits him on the shoulder, misses his head completely. That's got to be better there. Great ball in.
Well, the Palace fans are booing because they feel the goalkeeper held the ball longer than the regulation time. But Manchester City counter with Foden scampering in field. He picks out O'Reilly with his back to goal. O'Reilly shuffles away from two and wide. Lovely feet by Nico O'Reilly. And now the game is slowed down. Manchester City have it with Anderson. Boos at the moment for Anderson, although maybe they're still being directed at the referee.
They're booing him, but it's in that midfield area that they're securing possession. Him and O'Reilly dominating in there.
5.5 minutes of normal time remaining in a thrilling first half. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. You're listening to Talk Sport. the world's biggest sports radio station, home this season to 120 live Premier League commentaries, including Aston Villa against Arsenal on the Monday Night Football. Anderson again for Manchester City. He's been the best player on the pitch in many ways so far in this first half. Back it goes to Ruben Dias, and his angled ball over the halfway line to the left, and Gvardiol. Now he tees up Semenyo, and Semenyo teases it back to Gehi. Gehi again, crossfield ball, fizzed out towards the right, brought down elegantly by Foden, little flick by O'Reilly, back to Anderson. Good football from Manchester City. Ruben Dias, square pass to Gehi again, rolls it wide to the near side, the left, and Semenyo, Haaland among those waiting in the middle. It's gone square to Gehi again in a central area, back out wide Semenyo, taking on the full-back Halili, goes on the inside, looks for Cherki's feet not quick enough this time, beaten to it by Kamada. Crystal Palace looked like they might counter-attack, but belatedly Strand Larsen goes backwards. Now Wharton, good ball over the halfway line, and Nketiah chasing it, and he's beaten Kusanov to it. And Nketiah goes backwards to Pino, and they want the ball forward here, Crystal Palace. Pino looks for Nketiah again, Mark Gehi in the way against his old team, and he steers the ball upfield and away. Well won back by Wharton, with tenacity in the middle of midfield. Now it's dinked up towards Halili, and he can't reach it in the box. It's gathered by Donnarumma.
Yeah, you mentioned tenacity there. We've got a player, Wharton's down on the ground here. Just seems to me that they just don't quite have the pace with the front two for Palace, because when they can go right in after them, these Man City players, they're not too bothered. Kirchhoff come all the way across there, didn't he, to try to... I thought he actually tried too hard, and then Nketiah did well in the end. But you're right, whenever he goes backwards, there's this sort of dropping atmosphere, and the fans are like, no, we want some pace, we want you to attack this City defence, because they do look vulnerable, but nonetheless they're beating Palace up with possession here. We're closing in on 70% possession, 5 shots on goal without a single shot from Palace on target at the moment.
Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, is here, watching on from the main stand, not too far away from where we're sitting, to the right of the halfway line. And this is kick-off on Talk Sport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly in minutes, like Crystal Palace against Man City tonight. Stream via internet, terms apply. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1, it remains. Gehi's ball over the halfway line. Wharton's had to go off here, having gone down injured a couple of moments ago as a result of that tenacious challenge that he put in. So they're down to 10 men, Crystal Palace here. And he'll have to wait for a minute to come back on. Kusanov for Manchester City, back to Diaz on the halfway line. You can hear the boos and whistles of the home support. Gehi to Gvardiol, tries a reverse pass, it's deflected away into the path of Semenyo. Crystal Palace sitting very deep off the ball here, and he's nearly got the call to come back on. Wharton, he has got it now. Manchester City go out to the far side of the field. Foden collects the ball out of the air, twisting and turning, teasing beyond Mitchell, floating in the cross, Haaland's header, back across goal, can Foden reach it? Away by Mitchell, blasts it high up into the air, it's travelled nowhere, then he heads it further towards the edge of the penalty area, bounces down, Gehi reaches it against his old team, back from Kusanov to Ruben Dias, into the final 90 seconds of normal time at the end of the first half. 1-0 Manchester City, and they're still on the attack here with Semenyo. They should have scored more tonight, Manchester City, so far. That may yet come back to haunt them. Foden with another mesmeric dribble down the right hand side, but he can't get beyond Mitchell this time, and he's given it away actually. The pass is sloppy by Foden. Crystal Palace win it back, and they've got to be careful not to give it away here. Wharton has managed to steer it into the path of Mitchell. It was Kamada who was dicing with danger.
It's a good press though, isn't it, from City?
It is.
Palace just can't get out right now. Again, it was Foden. Mitchell, he nearly had to buy a ticket, by the way, to get back in the ground. Such was that swerve from Foden, wasn't it? Look, we haven't seen Foden escape him too often, but he jinxed across it and then goes down the line. But they should be scoring from that. Haaland then has a header which he can't get on target. It's
a Haaland header that separates the two teams, but no more than that. for Manchester City so far, and that could still let in Crystal Palace, of course, with Pino in the centre circle. He's flicked it forward towards Nketiah. Nketiah, hustle and bustle, rolls it wide to Halili. Strand Larsen in the middle. Halili looks to dart infield, couple of step overs, and then a very strange left-footed slice that flies miles wide. I assume he was going for goal there as the rain starts to tumble down in South London.
Would you say self-indulgent?
Just a bit.
Yeah, he's had a little moment there. We've been pleased with the way he's played, but there he comes onto his left foot. I don't know what's in his head, but he thinks he's going to put that in the top bin.
He's got to cross it right-footed early, hasn't it, Martin?
Yeah,
Strand Larsen is in there.
It just went out for a goal kick, didn't it? Just inside the corner
Just,
flag.
only just. He's very nearly a throw, which tells you all you need to know about how far wide it was. A minute of added time at the end of the first half on TalkSport. Headed by Wharton downfield. Strand Larsen, big burly centre forward, will chase it, but he's beaten to it by Kusanov. Back to Gianluigi Donnarumma, who had that shaky start in the Community Shield. Header square by Cherki out to the near side, and it's retrieved by Semenyo. City all in black with yellow socks tonight. Semenyo away from Pino, and he's not made Halili, left him on the floor. Terrific run by Semenyo, corner of the area, cuts it back to Cherki. Cherki back to Semenyo, his control is very sharp. He's back to Cherki again. Good save by the goalkeeper, low to his right. Lovely football. Yeah,
this is better from City. The way that they're recycling the ball, really top draw there. Cherki ending with a shot. Semenyo there had his fullback on toast, who we've said played well tonight. So City certainly looking the dominant force in that first half. The only thing failing really is more goals. It should be more goals on the board here.
That would be the one complaint for Enzo Maresca. Other than that, a very fluid Manchester City display. Erling Haaland with the only goal of the game. A beautiful ball in from Antoine Semenyo, and Haaland with a looping header over the top of the goalkeeper. They've had numerous chances since then to extend their lead. Probably the best fell to Phil Foden, but he could only side foot over the top from 10 yards out. A lot of endeavour and effort from Crystal Palace. Plenty of huffing and puffing at the other end, but precious little attacking quality. They are still looking for their first goal of the new Premier League season. Haaland has his, and Manchester City have the lead. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1.
No ponytail, no problem for Erling Haaland. Back on the score sheet with his first of the season. A well-deserved victory at the break for Manchester City, who have forced the game and controlled much of it, but they have to be wary. Flashes, especially from set pieces from Crystal Palace towards the break there, shows the real threat that they carry in this game, and they have grown into it. Let's dissect it alongside the Arsenal invincible Martin Keown. As I said, City looking very sharp this evening.
Yeah, without doubt. You know, obviously we didn't see great football from them in the Community Shield final. They were hanging on against Bournemouth, and that was vital that they get that win. They scored here early tonight, and it seems to settle the nerves a little bit. Still look a little bit vulnerable, but nonetheless, you're seeing Palace not quite got the pace in that final third to maybe create an opening. It's when they've got good possession, Palace, high up the pitch, and they whip balls in, that they're causing problems. But apart from that, I think the manager will go in at half-time for City, be pleased with what he's seen. He's been very different, hasn't he? Been very vocal, very visual on that sideline. It's almost like, okay, I need to change. I need to up my game also. More demanding, and Anderson has really pulled the strings for them in midfield.
Yeah, Anderson looking very, very good indeed. Combining very well with Nico O'Reilly, who's shown his talents in the midfield as well.
Yeah, and I suppose that's his natural position, and quite often he's the inverted fullback. He just starts in that position now. He looks very comfortable. They look better in that midfield. Gahey going back to his natural position at the back. Foden has had a couple of opportunities that he would be disappointed with.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a couple of good moments.
Has to score though.
He does.
Chance drops to him 10 yards out, middle of the goal, completely unmarked, on his trusty left foot, and he absolutely skies it.
Yeah, he's got. If he can get back to scoring goals, you know, and that quality, I thought it was going to come because this manager seemed to have invested in him again, was giving him the confidence. He was playing throughout pre-season. You know, he's been in every team, and he's missed that one. Hopefully, he can maybe put that to one side in the second half and maybe notch again.
Erling Haaland's goal itself, beautifully taken header.
Yeah, Semenyo on this left-hand side. he's cut in on his right foot. He's been given time and space to do that. And then Haaland, you can't give him that kind of time and space. And there's three young central defenders. I mean, Richards makes a half attempt to get in the way of it, and he just loops over the goalkeeper, no chance.
Palace, as we mentioned, though, they have grown into this game. They had a few chances themselves. Strand Larden's header went wide, but he was actually offside. But just a minute later, Tyreek Mitchell with a header, the goal gaping right in the middle of the box, unmarked, massive chance. He doesn't connect, skews it wide.
I mean, there's been a couple of those. I mean, Richards had a great opportunity in the ball.
Yep.
You know, look, it can hit you on the shoulder. You're trying to give it everything, you know, with your head, and you can miss it. It's about just getting yourself there in a solid fashion and just getting something on the end of it and guiding it. And he's missed it completely, hits him on the shoulder, so that went by, you know, and then you've got another one there. Nketiah getting in the box, and Mitchell also didn't look comfortable, did he?
No.
They're falling these opportunities to defenders when you really want them to fall to Larson.
But despite City's control and dominance, Palace will go into the changing room at half-time with a little bit more confidence, something to build on for sure.
While it stays at 1-0, there's every opportunity they can get back into this, and that they have to show more character, more personality, which they've done at times, but not quite enough.
Martin Keown, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back with you and Joe Shannon for the second half very, very shortly indeed. The plastic poncho is beginning to come on here in South London as the rain begins to come down. Not to dampen the spirits here, we have had a good atmosphere in the first half. Palace, though, trailing Manchester City by 1-0 at the break. That goal coming, of course, through Erling Haaland. Elsewhere tonight, live over on TalkSport 2, it's Wrexham 0, Birmingham City 1. Philip Newman's header from a corner after just 12 minutes of difference so far. It's goalless between Dunfermline and Wraith in the Scottish Championship. In Super League, Catalans lead 12-0 away at Castleford. It's Huddersfield 6, Leeds 6, and St Helens trailing lead Rhinos by 12 points to 0. And tomorrow night, a reminder, TalkSport brings you live heavyweight boxing commentary. Moses Itauma aiming to become Britain's youngest ever world champion. He faces the experienced Filip Hrgović at London's O2 Arena.
What's at stake? Of course, it's the biggest fight of my life.
There is the destructive power of this exciting teenager.
He's the best I've seen since Muhammad Ali.
Moses Itauma gets the biggest win of his professional life. Moses Itauma! Oh, that's it! Gavin Romain, Delvin Franklin, and now Moses Itauma bows to his crown.
This is the hardest fight, like professional, amateur, the threat, the opposition.
With respect to Filip Hrgović, Moses Itauma is going to go through him.
I don't buying that story, that hype. I'm not buying that.
Don't buy it, you'll see it.
It's going to be a cracker. Moses Itauma, Filip Hrgović for the vacant IBF World Heavyweight title. Live tomorrow night, 7:30 on the TalkSport network and the TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel. You can watch the fight live on DAZN as well. And you can also check out the latest TalkSport Daily Fiery Fridays podcast. Angelina Kelly, Adrian Durham and Alex Crook. Adrian, by the way, saying that Manchester United should play Kobbie Mainoo or sell him. Cookie predicts Leeds United will qualify for Europe this season, and Angelina believes someone should tell Mikel Arteta that Julian Alvarez is just not that into you. So if you want to hear more, the TalkSport Daily is available via all podcast platforms. Make sure you check it out. Here the Citizens are enjoying their Friday night in the capital city. Haaland off the mark at the break, live and exclusive on TalkSport. It's Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1.
Kick-off live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
You know football, and the Sun knows football. So we know that you want the latest football news and analysis round the clock, whether it's the Premier League, EFL or Cup competitions. Plus, must-watch shows like Tactics Exposed from our expert journalists. We don't know if Coventry can cut it back in the big time or whether Arsenal can retain their title, but we do know where you'll find out. Download the Sun app for fans who know football.
Crocs clips just dropped in Happy Meal. Express yourself however you feel. Sports mode, stylish or superstar too. Whatever your vibe, we've got the mode for you. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal.
Until the 21st of September from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. Crocs range comprises toys only while stocks last. Fair ordering policy applies.
You can know when a favourite is out of form. You can know that a star striker is injured. You can know about that new manager bounce. But do you know your limits? With Sky Bet's safer gambling tools, you can set a deposit limit so you don't spend more than you can afford. Join over 1 million others who don't just know their limits, they're setting them too. Game's back. Stay in control of your game with Sky Bet. For the fans. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there! His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result! Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in! Find out more at villagehotels.com.
It's another day at Screwfix, and Mo Farah is learning the ropes.
So, Mo, with Click and Collect, we get orders ready fast. So customers are out of here and back to their jobs in as little as 1 minute. What are you doing?
Deep lunges. It's my warm-up. I need to be in peak condition for when orders come in.
Love that intensity, Mo. Laser focused. You might even have what it takes to beat my PB one day.
Back in the Mo!
Click and collect in as little as 1 minute. Screwfix. No stopping you.
Imagine a place where you can escape for a day. Get immersed in a world of rooms, inspiration and expertise. Where you can laze in luxury accommodation. And kids can feast from 95 pence. Tickets are free to everyone and include all the attractions. You just imagine a day out at IKEA. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Kick off live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Crystal Palace versus Man City live today. 18+ stream via internet. Terms apply.
More fun than paying your gas bill. Kick off live on TalkSport.
This might just be the night for Crystal Palace to kickstart their season. Of course, Manchester City will have other ideas. Curling shot well saved by Henderson. Up go the players for the rebound, and Haaland stabs it goalwards. It's cleared off the line by Semenyo, and Haaland, the header is in. And Manchester City lead inside 17 minutes. Anderson for Foden over the top. Big chance for Foden. Driving into the area. Strand Larsen's header drifts wide of goal. It's a lovely ball, and the header is wide by Mitchell at the back post. Crystal Palace with their best moment of the game, and they were not too far away.
Erling Haaland, one chance, one goal. Never really bet against him. He's a difference so far as Manchester City aim to keep up their perfect start to the season. They lead 1-0 away at Crystal Palace in your live and exclusive Friday night Premier League action right here on TalkSport. Don't forget, Alan Brazil's going to be alongside Tony Cascarino. Classic lineup for weekend sports breakfast tomorrow morning from 6 a.m, building up to a big game we've got for you coming from Anfield. Nottingham Forest visiting Liverpool in our exclusive lunchtime Premier League action. Inside the stadium, few Manchester City substitutes warming up. We haven't seen any of the Palace subs warming up. Doesn't look like there's going to be any changes at the break though. No one doing a rigorous warm-up or anything like that. And just a reminder, transfer latest coming to you from TalkSport. Something involving Crystal Palace actually, and they are reportedly set to rival Chelsea to sign the Monaco central midfielder Lamine Camara. Liverpool are also one of the teams reportedly monitoring that situation. Aston Villa, well, they've reached an agreement to sign Ibrahim Mbaye from Paris Saint-Germain. Now that would be a massive coup. It's reported to be around 55 million euros. We'll see if that one comes to fruition. Really young player, 18 years old, but massive talent. Scored in the Champions League final a couple of seasons ago. Villa have also announced the signing of Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, but as we've been hearing from Unai Emery a little bit earlier on today, looks like Ollie Watkins is set to leave the club. It seems like he will be going out to Al Hilal. Emi Martinez, their goalkeeper, is reportedly in talks to join Chelsea, as we brought you live last night on TalkSport. And Chelsea striker Mark Guiu reportedly joining RB Leipzig in a permanent move as well. So plenty of action in the transfer market to come over the next few days. As you know, Alex Crook, Ben Jacobs keeping you right up to date with all of those potential moves. We'll have special shows for you as the window closes on Tuesday night. Adrian Durham with a special kickoff. Jim White will bring you right up to the closing of the window straight after that as well, up to 11 p.m. on Tuesday night. So make sure you're with TalkSport. All the details on talksport.com, of course. And we will end this weekend, by the way, with an exclusive commentary from Villa Park. Arsenal, the champions, are visiting. Big game. Don't know what the Villa team's going to look like. Absolutely dreadful starting 11 in their opening game where they were routed by Brighton. TalkSport Monday night will bring you that game, Villa against Arsenal. Martin Keown, of course, former Arsenal defender, 3-time Premier League champion, alongside me.
And Villa player, by the way.
And the former Villa man, no less.
150 games, yeah.
I was just about to say that, Mark. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Throw into the mix. And I was a little bit shocked at the Villa result, but I wouldn't say completely surprised, because I think Brighton, I expect big things from this season, and they've been they've not lost too many. They've remained intact. They are quite stable. The manager's been there a little while now.
Any worries for Villa, your former side, though?
Well, I think Unai Emery does an incredible job. I mean, if ever there was a company man that toes the line, because the amount of players that lead the football club, what have they lost, 5 or 6 key players? The whole core of that team has gone, but he's staying. That's the important thing, and he's going to try and rebuild. They look like some decent signings, but let's see what they do now. Between now, every season it seems that the financial fair play seems to get in the way, doesn't it? Certainly of Villa, certainly of Newcastle. Palace, is it the same for Palace? We're being told tonight that they overspent a little bit, on Larsson and the monies that they don't have now in the summer. And look, you've got to keep bringing the quality in. I mean, City are up for that challenge, aren't they? And we hear Liverpool now tonight, Barcola coming in as well. I've never known a transfer window like it, honestly. Managers, players, it's all change.
Into the second half coming up very shortly here on TalkSport. The players just emerging from the tunnel here at Selhurst Park. What are you hoping to see from both sides at the start of this second half, Martin?
Well, I think from a City point of view, I think they're going to want to finish this game off. They want that relationship, don't they, with Cherki and Haaland. If you think De Bruyne, he left the building now, seems like a long time ago. That relationship is key. Keep looking for Haaland. Semenyo give him the ball. Foden, a bit more confidence would be nice if he can score. But from a Palace point of view now, they need to show character. They need to get bodies in the box, and they just need to build it a bit slower, because they can't do it on the counter-attack.
It was open, it was entertaining in the first period. The second half underway live on TalkSport with former Arsenal defender Martin Keown and TalkSport's Joe Shannon.
Yes, we are back off and underway. Manchester City having kicked us off immediately. Donnarumma goes long, and City have it now with O'Reilly to Foden, 10 yards into Crystal Palace territory. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. The home team in all white with the red and blue sash across the front of the shirts and red and blue trim, playing from right to left in the second half, so attacking the White Horse Lane end. Unfamiliar in the second half, that for Crystal Palace. And Manchester City all in black with yellow trim and yellow socks, playing from left to right towards the Holmesdale Road end, which, as we all know, is traditionally the more vocal end of Selhurst Park. No changes at half-time. I'll run through both 11s for you in just a moment and give you the subs as well. Anderson, who's dictated play throughout, spreads the ball wide to Phil Foden on the near side, back to Kusanov, and it's Manchester City controlling possession early in the second half, leading as they do by a goal to nil. Martin Keown, and more than good value for that 1-0 lead.
Yeah, you mentioned Anderson. I just saw him limping a little bit there, but certainly his radar is on tonight, isn't it? His passing, he likes that whip pass, the Gerrard ball, when he transfers it right down the middle of the pitch. And yeah, he's in the mood tonight, but as I say, he's limping a little bit.
The ball is back with the Palace goalkeeper Henderson. He feeds Tomiyasu, one of the centre halves. Tomiyasu a little short with the ball to Mitchell. Manages to hurry the clearance high up to the edge of the area, but it's dropped to Cherki. He took it down well. He picks out Semenyo. Semenyo into the area with a low shot, and it's turned behind over on that far side by Convo, and Manchester City will have a corner. And if City are to get a second here, you feel it might be game over already.
Yeah, Convo there gives him a lot of space, and he takes the shot and manages to get that block in. That's the worry, is you've got to get tight to these City players, and Palace just look a little bit loose when you run at them.
Well, all change at Crystal Palace. Sarr and Mateta not in the squad tonight, both understood to be injured. They've spent The fewest of any Premier League club over the course of the window so far. Corner to Manchester City over on the far side of the right. Hoisted in by Anderson. O'Reilly's header in the back post towards Haaland, headed away. Nketiah tries to reach the loose ball. It's come to Foden with a fizzing drive. That's blocked by Helaili. Mark Guéhi has gone down. He looks to the referee, arms outstretched. Play continues. Manchester City have had almost all of the ball in the opening 3 minutes or so of the second half. And the one-way traffic, as it was for much of that first 45, is resumed here at Selhurst, live on Talk Sport. Palace with Henderson in goal, Helaili, Convo, Richards, Tomiyasu and Mitchell, Wharton and Kamada the midfield two, Pino, Nketiah and Strand Larsen. And for Manchester City, Donnarumma on the ball now, Kusanov, Ruben Dias, Guéhi and Gvardiol. Kusanov has got to be careful with Nketiah rushing towards him. O'Reilly is caught by Wharton in the middle of midfield. Wharton trying to tease beyond Anderson, but he doesn't do it. Anderson stands up athletically, authoritatively, full of confidence, and he doesn't even go to ground as he wins it back. Then it's a poor clearance by Kusanov, but City win it through Cherki. Anderson over the halfway line, looking left towards Semenyo. Well retrieved by Helaili. Helaili square to Pina. Crystal Palace only 1-0 down, and with that, there is still hope for Pierre Sarge on his home bow as the head coach. The rest of the Manchester City 11, O'Reilly and Anderson in midfield, Foden, Cherki and Semenyo behind Haaland, the goal scorer. Mitchell's cross for Palace, and Nketiah slid in at the near post and sends the ball well wide in the end. It's actually hit the corner flag and gone behind a very promising position right on the edge of the 6-yard area. He made pretty firm contact with it, but could only steer the ball miles wide of goal.
Yeah, again, Mitchell getting down this left side. It's another cross that comes in, and it's angled back to him at such speed. I don't think he can quite sort his beat out in Nketiah. He's unmarked at that near post. And it takes a moment, doesn't it, to score a goal as dominant as City have been.
And that is the issue that you would probably take with Enzo Maresca's team. They haven't capitalised on that dominance. Only 11 goals in his Crystal Palace career so far for Eddie Nketiah, the last coming in December in the Europa League. Foden for O'Reilly for Manchester City. Good block tackle by Nketiah. The Palace bench: Benitez, Munoz, Disasi, Lerma, McNeil, Gozo, Hughes, Gesson and Mingueza. And for Manchester City, Rulli, Kovacic, Aït-Nouri, Vitor Rice, Echeverry, Boadi, Mukedu, Braithwaite and Rico Lewis. A youthful Manchester City bench, but £86 million worth of fresh talent in Ayoub Boadi among them. And of course Enzo Fernandez, we expect to join the City pack before the end of the transfer window, which closes on Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. Of course, Talk Sport will have all the latest for you between now and then. Semenyo with a weaving run down the left wing. Semenyo darting on and rolling the ball into the penalty area, scooped away by Kamada, only as far as Guéhi. He looks for Cherki, and back it goes to Ruben Dias again. A total control about Manchester City in the game at the moment, Martin Keown.
Yeah, well, I think Palace have elected, haven't they, to stay strong, more compact, edge of their own box. They've not gone chasing. They don't want to get undone, of course, and it's up to Man City to find a solution to break them down now.
He's actually turned away quite frustrated there, Enzo Maresca, as City go backwards, and Donnarumma looking for Kusanov. There was a glancing touch off the boot of Nketiah in the main stand. The Palace fans are out of their seats, furious about it, but the throw has gone Manchester City's way.
Yeah, Donnarumma, not really an Edison, is he, with the ball at his feet, as we were used to see. Doesn't look really comfortable when he gets it, gives it away there, and then throws his arms at his colleagues.
Well, we know that Enzo Maresca places a lot of demand on his goalkeepers like that. Good ball by Anderson, down the inside left, chasing his Semenyo. Helaili got a glancing touch off his chest. It's another corner to Manchester City, and no change really, Martin, in terms of the story of the game so far. 7 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, it's just a case of can City get this elusive second goal? They'll be looking for better quality, certainly from the corners.
Cherki will take this one. Right-footed in, swinging up to the edge of the 6-yard box, only half-headed away, drops down to Anderson on the half volley, and he smashes it high over the top into the Holmesdale Road end, and you can tell that by the ironic cheers of the home support. But it is much flatter, the atmosphere at Selhurst early in the second half here.
Yeah, that wasn't really Anderson that you'd expect there, would you? With a technique. I'm tempted to make an excuse for him because there's something wrong with his foot or lower leg injury, and I think, you go to a new club and you think, there's no way I can go off with this, I better just keep going, because every time we stop he's limping a little bit, maybe not enough to take him off, but might be impeding him a little bit.
Headed by Anderson, downward ball towards O'Reilly, it's missed by Kamada, Foden seizes upon it, surging down the middle, edge of the D, looks for the feet of Cherky, lovely footwork by Ryan Cherky, what a brilliant run, that's a magnificent goal! The ball stuck to his feet like glue, mesmeric, the wizard of Ryan Cherky, jinked beyond all comers, and then he had the final deftest of touches to roll it beyond the statuesque Henderson and into the net. Fleet of foot, doesn't even begin to tell the story. That was a magic moment from Ryan Cherky, and Manchester City lead by 2-0. That was a thing of beauty.
Wow, icy cool, wasn't he? And you look at the ball when it comes into him and you think, well, how on earth is he going to find a way through all of those players? And they don't get tightened up again. I mean, it's worked really beautifully, but look at the number of touches he's got. He's got players all around him. He's just like a ballerina, isn't he? Like lovely, perfect little touches, and just somehow flicks it out with the outside of his left foot around a Palace flailing leg, and he's in the back of the net. Wonderful finish.
It's the sort of goal that you expect to see on a 5-a-side pitch or something like that.
Yeah, but look, you're just looking at it from that reverse. Richards there, he feels if he does anything or makes an attempt, it's a foul, and I feel he should be trying to go after that ball, and uses his body beautifully though, doesn't he, Cherky, to give him the time and space to create the finish.
Well, there's a yellow card here for Anderson and a free kick to Crystal Palace midway inside Manchester City territory. In fact, it's probably further forward than that. It's a good 30 yards out nonetheless though, right of centre as we look at it, and it's the Manchester City fans on the far side of the field who are in jubilant mood at the moment, thanks to that moment of brilliance from Ryan Cherky. Free kick Crystal Palace. Can they get themselves back in the game? Is there any hope of a first points or goal of the season for Crystal Palace here? At the moment, none of those things look particularly likely. Pino's free kick, and it's hit the goalkeeper and got in! Pino with the free kick, off the woodwork, hit Donnarumma on the back, ends up in the net. There's that goal for Crystal Palace, their first under Pierre Sarge, right out of the top drawer, but I think it's going to go down as an own goal from Donnarumma. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 2.
Wow, what a connection that is. And you look at it and you think, can he score really from there with the size of that goalkeeper? And it's wonderful. It comes off, I think, the bar, hits him on the back of the head, Donnarumma, and ends up in the back of the net. I mean, he's a little bit slow to get across. I think he hits him on the back in the end, and he gets punished. As good a goalkeeper as he is, if he's disappointed, he doesn't get a fingertip on it. It's a wonderful free kick, you have to say. I mean, the wingspan of that goalkeeper, he's a giant of a man, and somehow he finds that top upright, and it comes off the back of him, and we've got a game on here again.
Well, there you are. Crystal Palace have lived off under Pierre Sarge, and of course Martin Keown, Q commentator. They don't look like scoring, and then within a second they do.
Yeah,
and now Nketiah has won it back off Kusanov, and he jinked backwards Nketiah there momentarily.
Nketiah has got to be, look, Kusanov is rapid, but you've got to run with him. You can't keep coming back, and that's you can feel the frustration, can't you, from the Palace fans when Nketiah gets the other side of his defender and then comes running back.
Now Selhurst comes alive again. Strand Larsen over the halfway line, held up by Gvardiol, and once again Manchester City failed to keep a clean sheet to start the season.
Well, there might be a bit of controversy around the free kick. I'm not sure there was any contact. We'll have to look at that. Maybe if they get back in the game, I'm sure Maresca will be arguing there wasn't any contact made. You can't argue about the actual quality of that goal from the free kick. Amazing.
Wrexham 1, Birmingham 1 in the Championship. Live on TalkSport 2 right now. Callum Doyle has scored. More excellent dribbling from Cherki down the inside left. It's rolled back to Semenyo on the edge of the penalty area. Semenyo is blocked off by Convo, and then down goes Wharton, tripped by Cherki. Free kick to Crystal Palace as we tick towards the 58-minute mark. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 2.
But it's a foul by Cherki, and he won't want to get too many of those. Of course, he's on a yellow card right now.
It is an own goal by Donnarumma, as we expected, that Crystal Palace goal. It feels harsh on the goalkeeper and harsh on Pino, that, but the ball did hit the bar, come back out, hit the goalkeeper on his back and go in.
Just one thing I want to point out there. There's been more than one occasion tonight where the back three for Palace are giving the ball away cheaply. So you're just looking at Richards there. Just take your time. Don't be in a rush. Keep possession, because this is what happens afterwards.
Cherki, 25 yards out. He looks up, he shoots, and he's found the corner. Ryan Cherki again. Is there anything this man cannot do? It's a rising drive that's beaten Dean Henderson, and Manchester City are 3-1 into the lead. It's Cherki with another cracker.
You could feel it coming, couldn't you? We're talking about Richards giving the ball away, and Cherki's an opportunist, and he's really in the mood tonight, and he shoots this. I mean, he shoots from distance. He really has got no right to score from there, but look, he's giving it to the Palace fans now. They know they've seen something really special here tonight from Cherki, and he's put them right back in charge of this match.
But is there any question mark over the goalkeeper? I wonder. It's a terrific effort. Maybe it takes a slight deflection on its way through, but should he save it?
Well, look, when it takes a deflection like that, it changes the height of the ball coming. The pathway changes completely. I think he would have maybe dealt with the shot, but once it flicks off of Richards, and to be fair, Richards has got to come up to the ball. You can't just sit there. You've got to go up and face it, and they just look like, I'm not saying they're passengers, but they're too passive. Go and affect the ball. But Cherki, I say, I mean, he's in wonderful talent and in great form tonight.
And just like last season, Manchester City scored 3 at Selhurst Park. 3-1 up now, and a loose pass by Convo, retrieved by Kamada to send it back to Henderson. He'll smash it high up the middle, and it could run through for Strand Larsen. Anderson got a vital touch on it to send it spiralling backwards towards Donnarumma. Had he not got the touch on it, then Strand Larsen would have been through.
Just a recap on that, not to dig anyone out, but Richards does lose that ball in the build-up for that goal.
Yeah.
And unforced error. We're early in the season here. But people look rusty. Here they come again, Palace.
Halili away on the right-hand side. Halili's low ball in is gathered by Donnarumma at the near post.
Yeah,
what a game.
Yeah, I mean, Halili's getting down that right-hand side time and time again. Just needs more whip on the ball. He's got to give his centre-forward a chance to get on the end of it.
We've had an hour here on TalkSport. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 3. With Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever it is, they're here for it. Cherki has the ball midway inside his own half the field. Cherki on a hat-trick.
I wonder if Maresca will make any changes to that engine room. Whether Anderson comes off. They've got Boadi in there. A good opportunity. Maybe if they get another one, I'd certainly be sure of it coming on.
Semenyo away on the far side of the field. Little dummy by Gvardiol back into the path of Cherki. Cherki onto the edge of the D. He's skipped away from 2 in white. Looks for Foden. Gets the return ball. Back to Foden again. Infield from the right-hand side. Now Kusanov to Anderson. Anderson has rolled it across to Gehi. He'll knock it wide, further wide to the left-hand side, and Semenyo, who can't get beyond Halili, who stands up to make a decent challenge. But all of the momentum that Crystal Palace thought they had back in the game has gone after that Cherki strike from the edge of the box. And now Manchester City take too long to take the throw, do they? No, the referee signalled that we've had the 5 seconds, but play continues with City in possession. Now they give it away through Gvardiol, and there was a late challenge there, looking behind that pillar again, I think on Convo. Either way, it's a Crystal Palace free kick, and I wonder whether Crystal Palace are going to think about changes as they bid to get back in the game. They are. Evan Guesson is coming onto the field, back at the club again on loan, and on he comes in place of Strand Larsen, who has worked hard, Martin Keown, but really looked like scoring.
Yeah, he was motivated, you can see that. Just doesn't have the pace, does he, to run into the channel. So if you're out of possession for long periods, it's not ideal for you, but if you have concentrated effort, he can get on the end of things, but not tonight. Guesson's gone right up there, by the way. I don't see him as a centre forward, but he's there tonight.
And an early ball by Halili, looking to thread it down the far side, the right towards Pino. Is errant, well retrieved by Mark Gahey, who's been largely very steady against his former club on his return to Selhurst Park. First return for Gahey. So Manchester City lead by 3-1. We'll be at Anfield tomorrow lunchtime as City go over the top towards Foden. Out comes goalkeeper Henderson. Anfield tomorrow for Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Watford against West Ham will be on TalkSport 2 at 3. And then on Sunday, around the grounds for Game Day Live with Sam Matterface from 1 o'clock. The Monday Night Football Live with us is Aston Villa against Arsenal. Cherki with another weaving run, driving down the middle, but in the way is Kamada, who sticks out a leg to win it back. Mitchell looks early for Nketiah. He can't get it under control. A frustrating night for Eddie Nketiah.
You just sense the fans are on his back a little bit as soon as he makes any kind of mistake.
Semenyo left corner of the penalty area, taking on Halili again, teasing it back to Gvardiol. He's got lots of time to cross. Foden at the back post, he'll keep it in play, down by the dead ball line in front of the Holmesdale Road end, which is on its collective feet. And Nketiah not really strong enough in the 50-50 challenge with Kusanov. City win it back, and City continue to control the game 20 minutes into the second half. They've looked sparkling going forward tonight.
It looks like Foden's sort of going more a bit central. O'Reilly's going out onto that right wing, and they're just sort of, I think they're doing that to get more bodies centrally.
And Semenyo wins a corner, but this is a tough start for Pierre Sarge at Crystal Palace, no doubt about that. Injuries and potentially want-away players as well, as two difficult opening games. The defeated Everton, and now is there a problem for Henderson here?
There's just so few options for the manager. You know, we talked about, haven't we? You know, personnel not there, and Guesson he's a wide player. He's not a centre forward, but they've had to put him up there.
Corner drifted in by Cherki from the left, high in swinging Gvardiol with a looping header, and it's plucked out of the air by Henderson before it could reach Haaland at the far post.
I mean, he wants to send that ball forward quickly, but they look tired now, Palace.
There doesn't really seem to be an outlet up front.
Lost that spark, haven't they?
Yeah. They certainly had it early on in the game, certainly had it briefly at 2-1. Guesson has looked for Pino, right corner of the penalty area. Pino across the face of goal, and nobody can get the touch. Nketiah and Guesson there in white shirts, but I don't know how good the cross actually was.
Well, initially it's a mistake, isn't it, from Gahey, who just gifts it and they just roll it. Pino's trying to cross that ball, and nobody can get on the end of it. I mean, to be honest, look, how are you getting on the end of that?
Well,
tell me.
You're throwing yourself at it, at best.
You know, you hear people say, oh look, you know, they should be getting on the end of it. No, find the player in the box.
Yeah.
There's too much pace on that and too much height.
It wasn't happening, was it, for either Guesson or Nketiah? Martin Keown with us tonight here on TalkSport. Crystal Palace readying a double change. Dwight McNeil will come on for his home debut, and Xavier Gozo, a 19-year-old American brought from Real Salt Lake, also stripped and ready to go. Mitchell for Crystal Palace, infield to Kamada, middle of the Manchester City half. He's nutmegged O'Reilly, surging down the left-hand side, plenty in the middle waiting for a cross. It might come in now from Tomiyasu. It does from Tomiyasu, high to the back post, header away by Gvardiol on the stretch. And Semenyo will beat Convo to it, and Semenyo accelerates forward for Manchester City, hacked down from behind by Halaili. He might be in trouble here. Free kick to Manchester City and a yellow card for Halaili.
Yeah, as we say, mixed reports really on him tonight.
And mixed reports already in Nketiah, would you say, as he goes off?
Well, I think he's done quite manfully up there. He's getting a round of applause from the supporters, but they do lack pace. They lack pace in that final third, and they're not going to be a counter-attacking team if you've not got pace. City have been able to play a high line, push all the way up, and go in after the ball without the fear of a ball over the top to hurt them.
So off go Nketiah and Pino, on come McNeil and Gozo, who makes his Premier League and Crystal Palace debut. And they have a brand new look front three here, Crystal Palace, for the final 22 and a half minutes. Wrexham 1, Birmingham 2. Birmingham back in front again through Phil Neumann. That game is live on TalkSport 2 right now. Header away by Richards for Crystal Palace, and then Mitchell hammers the ball upfield towards the halfway line, and Guesson managed to pressure Anderson sufficiently that he did lose the ball. Eventually it's fallen for Wharton, who nods it forward towards Gozo and McNeil, who both waited for each other to retrieve it, and they both lose the ball as a result. Forward by Cherki looking for Haaland, and then Tomiyasu and Richards bundle it away, having got in each other's way at one point. Mitchell surges over the halfway line now. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 3 is the latest score on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly in minutes, like Palace against Man City live tonight, streamed via internet, terms apply. Now here is Convo, the number 6. Good early ball to Halaili, and Manchester City caught out. Halaili's early ball, well gathered by Donnarumma, in and around the penalty spot, took up a very high starting position.
That's brilliant goalkeeping, isn't it? To read that, he's almost on the edge of his own box there.
Yep.
Great ball in. Halaili there, just whipping it in, deciding just to go for it. He's in acres of space, by the way, on that right-hand side.
Gvardiol was missing, out of position. Mateo Kovacic warming up and ready to come on here for Manchester City. Will it be Anderson to go off, do you think?
Yeah, I would assume so, because he's got some sort of a knock, and he came off in the game last weekend, didn't he? And Cherki came on to their rescue. As I say, I think that wasn't by design. I think it was because of a needs rust, really, to make that change. I mean, Cherki, it was a good job he did come on and do what he did, because he's transformed their season and the game tonight.
Donnarumma with a risky ball right along the 6-yard line, but it evades Guesson, picks out Ruben Dias, high ball to Foden, who tried to flick it into the path of O'Reilly, dispossessed by Kamada. Now Wharton. Is there any hope for Crystal Palace here with 19 minutes to go? It's with Gozo. First real touches in the Premier League for him. He's bundled over by Kusanov, who got to the ball. And now O'Reilly, early pass to the feet of Cherki. Nice touch to Haaland. Haaland tried to work it wide. The loose ball is retrieved by Convo, who rolls it back to his goalkeeper.
Strangely, Palace look a little bit better here, don't they, with fresh legs on. A bit more energy.
Yeah.
The shape's not bad. It seems to like they're better in possession, a little bit more pace. I know sometimes you go 3-1 down and you're like, okay, that just takes the shackles off. Look at that lovely little flick there. Lovely play.
Mitchell in field to McNeil, and McNeil can drive down the middle. He's got Halaili away to his right-hand side. The ball's slightly behind Halaili, but he has time to deliver the cross, and again Donnarumma is out very early, and almost to the edge of the box.
He's reading them well, because they are really good crosses, aren't they? Halaili.
Well, we're hearing that Gvardiol is going to go off for Manchester City, so you'd assume that means that O'Reilly will go to left back. And meanwhile, a double change on the way for Crystal Palace. Oscar Mingueza and Axel Disasi. So two of the new men ready to take to the field for their Crystal Palace debuts. Disasi, who was signed on loan from Chelsea in the last 48 hours, and Mingueza, a summer pickup from Celta Vigo. Phil Foden with a diagonal ball for Manchester City, swirling out to the left-hand side where it's plucked out of the air by Semenyo. Gehi now takes up possession. We've got just over 16 minutes to go here on Talk Sport, and Crystal Palace do not look like mounting a comeback at this stage, but it was certainly out of the blue where they were back in it briefly before Cherki really restored Manchester City's superiority. High ball down the inside right, chasing is Foden, but out comes Henderson all in green together. Is there the belief, do you think, Martin Keown, in these Crystal Palace players that they can get back into it?
Well, it's about growing their play now through that midfield, developing the play. They're going quite from back to front, and Donnarumma in a good position there, nearly get in again. I just think that City have just relaxed just a little bit too much.
Oh, and that's a poor back pass by Ruben Dias. Donnarumma had to be alert again to sweep it away into the path of Gehi, who himself is caught on the ball by McNeil at the expense, though, of a free kick.
Yeah, it just needs a bit of freshening up for City, to be fair. They need a few substitutions here just to get players on the pitch. Lost that intensity in their play.
Well, here come the changes. Off goes Tomiyasu, and here comes Axel Disasi for his Crystal Palace debut. While at Chelsea, he's had a couple of other loan spells away at Villa and West Ham. And off goes Adnan Helaili, who certainly looked lively at points over the course of the game, got himself into good positions. Mingueza, his replacement.
Well, he's certainly getting a good round of applause. The fans have shown what they think of him.
Taken to him quickly, and the Manchester City changes Kovacic for Gvardiol, as we expected. Well, he hasn't actually come on yet, Mingueza, because presumably Helaili was too long going off the field, so he's got to wait a minute to come on, and Crystal Palace will be down to 10 for just under a minute now. Well, rules are rules, Martin Keown. Helaili, too slow.
I mean, he's come all the way across the pitch, hasn't he? To a round warm of applause, but he needs to go off the pitch at the nearest point.
He does, and that's why the rule has been enforced, intended to stop time wasting, of course. No suggestion that that's what Palace were doing. They're 3-1 down, but he took too long.
And a minute feels like a very long time, doesn't it?
Especially when you're up against a team like Manchester City. Kusanov over the halfway line. 15 minutes to go. We've still not got Mingueza onto the field just yet. Anderson on the halfway line will roll it square to his left, and Gehi carries it forward, picks out O'Reilly 35 yards out, nudges it to his left, and Cherki. Further wide is Semenyo, back to Cherki again. Haaland waits for the cross. Mingueza still waits to get the call from the referee to come on. I make it we have now had about a minute. Away by Richards, sliding in his Wharton, beaten to it by Anderson. All this midway into the Crystal Palace half. Now Kovacic has retrieved the ball. Out wide to the near side, and Foden plays it backwards. Mingueza still waiting to come on. Still the boos of the home support. It's with Anderson. Well, referee has looked at his watch, and still Mingueza waits, but I'm sure that we have had the elapsed minute now, and it does seem strange that Mingueza isn't able to come on. Kovacic in the centre circle, back to Ruben Dias, and now Kusanov, he's on the halfway line, picks up Kovacic again, well won by Convo, stepping in just shy of the halfway line, and now that the game is stopped, Mingueza can come on, and it's actually because play has come to a halt. So whenever the ball goes out of play, or whenever the game gets a natural stop, like a stoppage in play, then he can come on. So that's why there was the delay.
And certainly those City players knew that, because they were just keeping. It was just a game of keep ball, wasn't it? We'll keep it and for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. He's gone over to the far side of the field now, the referee, and come back across. Not entirely sure what was going on there, Andy Madley, why he was sent over to the far side of the field, but everything seems okay.
Goodness, it was sign language there, wasn't it?
And here is Combo midway inside his own half. Well, the crowd are not happy, but the referee did get it correct, because there has to be a stoppage in play. The ball has to go out of play in some way, shape or form.
Does that need looking at?
Well,
not sure that. Didn't enjoy that. Felt like 5 minutes. I'm sure it wasn't, but these Palace fans, it felt like that.
It was certainly over a minute. And there's no real momentum in the game for Crystal Palace anyway, with 12 to go plus stoppage time. Gehi back to Donnarumma. Ayub Buadi is among those receiving instructions on the near side touchline. Could he be about to come on and make his Manchester City debut? Foden's touch back to Anderson, middle of his own half, threads it wide left to O'Reilly, and now Cherki carries the ball forward. 2 goals tonight for Ryan Cherki in a very impressive display. Little 1-2 between him and Semenyo. Cherki to Kovacic, and now Anderson. Back it goes, and they're just totally in command here, aren't they, Martin, Manchester City?
Of course, you know, you're right, they're just killing the game by passing it. I mean, there's no halays from the fans. There might as well be. But I do feel that stoppage though has affected things a little bit. It's just look at that for strength, Semenyo.
Good turn by Semenyo away from Mingueza. He carries the ball right along the left-hand touchline. He's kept it in play despite the appeals of the home support, and now Kovacic takes over, running at Richards. Richards gets a foot in, and out of play it goes for a Manchester City throw. And frustration is the word to describe the atmosphere here in South London, as we see 2 Manchester City players ready to come on. The youngster Makedu, and well, another youngster in the shape of Buadi, both of them 18 years of age. Makedu made his debut and scored in the FA Cup win over Exeter last January. That was a 10-1 victory. You might remember that, 10-1 to Manchester City. This will be his Premier League debut, and a full debut in Manchester City colours for Ayub Buadi.
I wonder how significant this signature is going to be for this club. He's following in Rodri's footsteps. One assumes he's going to be in that role.
Anderson hurriedly back to Donnarumma, who is taking on McNeil. He manages to get past him just about there, Donnarumma. That was very risky from Manchester City. Eventually Donnarumma blazes the ball long, header away by Disasi in front of Haaland. Now Semenyo out on the left, playing it back to O'Reilly. Cherki again. Crossfield ball from left to right, out to the near side, and Foden, who will get caught by Gozo. Free kick given to Manchester City, and now with 10 minutes to go they make these changes, leading by 3 goals to 1, and the star of the night, Ryan Cherki, is the first to come off.
Yeah, he's been absolutely magnificent tonight, taking the applause. I think the irony of this is the Palace fans are saying he's taking too long to go off.
Wow.
He's milking the applause, but the Man City subs are allowed to come on, so it's creating a lot of anger here. Anderson going off as well, and predictably he's limping. I said to you early on, I thought maybe there was an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that substitution has actually taken a lot longer, hasn't it, than the Palace substitution?
Felt like it. Anderson was being urged to leave the field by the referee, but Manchester City get both onto the pitch as replacements, Makedu and Buadi.
I think what we want is consistency, so if you're doing that for one set of players, you must do it for the other.
First touches in City colours, the change kit of black and yellow tonight for Buadi. The young Moroccan, who already has experience at a World Cup to his name.
Well, he could have chosen the French team, couldn't he? Played internationally, and then was given that news that he would definitely make the World Cup squad for Morocco, and he chose them instead over France.
He was the captain of the under-21 French team.
I mean, he's really well known, though. A lot of clubs were looking at him, so he's a massive prospect.
£86 million. Now Makedu darting forward. Lovely footwork from the youngster, scampering on and curling it just wide left-footed from the edge of the D. That would have been another wonder goal for Manchester City.
Well, talk about taking your opportunity when you come from the bench. I mean, look, he's on the right-hand side of the pitch. I mean, he goes inside, he beats the defender with ease, and then just tries to curl it into that far corner, and he's just wide with it.
Is there any late twist in the tail? 7 minutes plus added time to go. The vast majority of the Crystal Palace fans are certainly staying put until the end, but no sign of a wonder comeback here. A tough start to life at the helm for Pierre Sarge. A trip to Fulham to come next for Crystal Palace, and then a home game against Ipswich Town that already looks quite important.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that between now and then they'll be trying to get players in. That's going to be the order of the day.
Here is Goza, halfway line, nudges it wide left to Mitchell, and he wins the throw via the ricochet off Kusanov again. Arms outstretched, Enzo Maresca, very demonstrative in his dark jacket and white shirt. Mitchell rolling the ball infield for Crystal Palace, back to Combo, and now Disasi, who's standing at the heart of that back three. And Foden, incidentally, has moved into the 10 role now that Cherki has gone off. And Foden wins it back, right down the middle, towards the edge of the D. Still going here, Phil Foden, a brilliant run, and he picks out Haaland, who makes it 4! Emphatic for Manchester City as Haaland gets in on the act again. 2 for him, 4 for the visitors. It'll be 2 wins from 2 in the Premier League for Enzo Maresca and co. Who says things aren't looking up for Manchester City? Meanwhile, there is a mass exodus of home supporters at Selhurst Park. A comprehensive City win. Haaland sets the seal on it. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 4.
Yeah, and again they lose possession cheaply. Foden just goes right through the heart of the team, and he finds Haaland, and he's lost none of that strength, even though he's had a haircut. He's not like Samson, who lost all his strength. He's still there, and he's looked really awesome here tonight. Haaland. Game is completely out of touch now for Palace, and they are looking second best massively here tonight.
And the City fans, as we look across to the right hand side, that they were doing the Poznan a few moments ago. Forward come Crystal Palace straight away. Gozo into the penalty area, but he is able to hold it up and keep it in play, and no, he isn't. The ball is adjudged to have gone out from the assistant referee. Well, as Hugh said at half time, no ponytail, but no problem for Erling Haaland, and now he's on a hat-trick.
Yeah, and he's looking at his best again.
They've looked very good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously we said in the first half the only downside was they were already 1-0 up. I think you have to take it into context, though. How good is this Palace team? I think they look very vulnerable at the back. This experience that they've lost there, it's really counting now. I mean, Phil Foden's just gone into midfield and left off, hasn't he, where Cherki was dominating, and he's just filled in nicely. Just, okay, give me the ball and I'll take over.
Well, they look like a team shorn of players, Crystal Palace, which is what they are and where they are at the moment.
They need options. I mean, they've got a core group in there. Their midfield, they've looked okay in there. You look across the board, and it's. I mean, they just had that European success, and you start a new season, and then your key players don't seem to want to be there. And the fans now have left in great numbers. I mean, they do give great support here, you have to say that, but tonight it's a night of reflection, of, I think, an early shout of where is this club really heading, and where are the players for the future of this football club.
You can have your say, Palace fans and Manchester City supporters, on 03717 223344. by calling the Sports Bar Weekender once we're done here. Adam Catchell and Carlton Cole taking your calls tonight. And remember, Liverpool against Nottingham Forest tomorrow lunchtime. West Ham against Watford on TalkSport 2 at 3. And Aston Villa against Arsenal on Monday night. I'm being told it's Jermaine Pennant on the Sports Bar tonight. Haaland down the middle, nearly in for the hat-trick, away by Mitchell. Adam Catchell and Jermaine Pennant with you tonight on the Sports Bar Weekend.
Disasi is certainly a player. I mean, I know he's coming on loan, he's coming late, but you want him. You need experience in that defence, and he's just got a good block in there on Haaland. And he did do really well at West Ham, didn't he? He became a West Ham man very quickly, and they need him to do that at Palace.
Well, as you say, it feels as though, Martin, they need reinforcements all over the field. 4-1 to Manchester City, 2 minutes to go. Now Semenyo surging forward, and he's actually under pressure from the retreating Richards, been able to win a corner. And Manchester City will feel that 4 is the least they deserve. And 2 more changes about to come for them. Off goes Kusanov, and he's replaced by Vitor Rice at fullback. The second change has seen Nico O'Reilly leave the field, the PFA Young Player of the Year, and it's an opportunity for another youngster, the 18-year-old Caden Braithwaite, to make his Premier League debut for Manchester City tonight. Can either player get on the end of this corner by Foden, left-footed and high towards Ruben Dias? It's headed away by Axel Disasi. Braithwaite's first touch in the centre circle. Now Bouadi back to Braithwaite again. 03717 223344 for the Sports Bar Weekender to come. Here is Ruben Dias, square ball to Braithwaite, who's dropped into that central defensive position momentarily. Now Bouadi takes up possession. Bouadi, tall and slender with long dark curly hair. Roll it wide forward into the path of Rice, and now Mukedu ready to take on Mitchell as we go into the final minutes of normal time. It's Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they are here for it.
Maresca's done the right thing. We said, didn't we, about they just went a bit flat for a little bit, get the substitutions on, and then they go through the gears. Look, Foden's playing with a lot more freedom suddenly, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, I think when you get that scoreline 4-1, it's time you want to see that though when they're 0-0. You want Foden controlling things early on in games.
Well, Manchester City host Coventry next weekend before a trip to Manchester United. We know the draw for the Champions League and indeed the Europa League, of course, which Crystal Palace are involved in this season. Manchester City start with PSG at home and Barcelona away. The Rodri reunion. 5 minutes of added time at the end of the game, and there are large swathes of empty blue seats at Selhurst Park now, and the task ahead of Pierre Sage has been underlined here tonight, albeit by a ruthless Manchester City.
Yeah, I mean, when the games come round, I mean, through the week you're trying to buy the best players. There's a lot of activity in the transfer market. I assume City will go in again and buy more players. The squad maybe needs to be bigger.
Now Vitor Rice coming forward, cuts it back to Foden, 25 yards out. McKady running onto it, tried a threaded ball down the middle instead of going for goal, which he was entitled to do from that sort of range, but it was nowhere near Erling Haaland.
Well, he should have had another shot. He's probably thinking, maybe I need to be more collective, I need to pass it, but I think that was on for another hit at goal. Makedo's looked sharp, hasn't he, since he come on? I mean, you see often experienced players who don't really go at players as much as he's done in the short time he's been on the pitch.
And he certainly looked bright, and Manchester City could happily keep playing and keep creating and keep scoring.
I mean, these are 2 real passers on the pitch now. Kovacic, they just like almost pass you to a standstill.
Forward comes Vitor Rice, and now Foden collects the ball on the halfway line. Little ping of a pass out to the left-hand side. Braithwaite across to Foden again, and now Bouadi takes up possession. We're just over 90 seconds through the 5 added at the end of the game. 4-1 to Manchester City. Out on the right is Makedu, nudging it back to Vitor Rice. They're trying to conjure up some atmosphere late on in the match, the home support, but the game is well and truly lost, and it'll be 2 defeats from 2 in the Premier League for Crystal Palace to start the new season. 6 conceded in those 2 matches as well, which is a concern. Talking of concerns, Phil Foden has gone down here right at the end of the game, and in the end he's helped to his feet by Semenyo. What have you made of Foden's performance tonight, Martin?
Well, as I say, Cherki's gone off and he seems to have flourished a little bit. He had a couple of opportunities on the right hand side and didn't put it away. He could have been more ruthless in front of goal, but I think he's going to get time in the team now. Maybe when the competition comes and maybe it changes slightly, you know, where are you going to play this new Boadi?
Oh, good ball, Boadi into Semenyo. Semenyo trying to cross, blocked off by Mingueza. Haaland was waiting in the middle, and it took a double deflection and goes behind for a goal kick. But that was a terrific slide rule pass.
It was, and look, great vision there. You have to say. I mean, how is he seeing that angle? We're up in the stand and we're not seeing that, and he's seeing it on the pitch. Boadi. So you know you've got to fit all these players together, and if they're going to go with an out-and-out winger, then you're looking and seeing, well, Foden's not going to play, but they need to bring that winger into the building.
Birmingham still lead at Wrexham by 2-1 in the Championship tonight. Birmingham about to pick up their first league victory of the new campaign. Here come Crystal Palace, but the game is up as far as they're concerned tonight. 4-1 down, 90 seconds to go. Gozo is blocked off by the athletic, robust, sliding challenge of Ruben Diaz. They're in good voice for Manchester City support, and why not? Here is Wharton. Now Convo has hammered the ball straight out of play.
It's going to be a difficult week for them, isn't it, Palace? Because you know when you're playing one of your local rivals, they sense a wounded animal. They want to make it worse for you, so that's not going to be an easy one. A derby game. And you look at the fixtures that beyond that. The game against Ipswich, you'd expect them to be up for that, but again, that brings a pressure, doesn't it, to get you 3 points?
Absolutely. We know how ruthless the Premier League is and how unforgiving it can be. Manchester City have certainly been unforgiving tonight, and not really at any point of Crystal Palace genuinely look getting back into the game. Maybe, of course, apart from that goal to make it 2-1. But then instantly all hope was snuffed out again, Martin.
Yeah, exactly. And they pretty well give that third goal away in there, very cheaply.
Well, we've had the 5 minutes of added time. Selhurst Park is half empty in the home sections at least. Raucous noise from those in sky blue. 4 goals on a Friday night. Plenty of reason for Manchester City to be optimistic. It is 2 wins from 2 in the Premier League for Enzo Maresca. 2 goals and a sparkling performance from Ryan Cherki. The first was absolutely exquisite. Erling Haaland with the other 2. They battered Crystal Palace into submission. There are disconsolate looks at the full-time whistle from some of those Palace players. They don't know where to look, and for most of the night that was the case. Pino got the Palace goal. In fact, it was eventually given as an own goal off the back of Donnarumma. Pino's free kick hitting the goalkeeper and ending up into the net. But Manchester City never really felt any great threat over the course of the game. Certainly a thoroughly deserved victory, but for Crystal Palace the questions continue. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 4.
Well, if that's a level that Crystal Palace are going to give us, particularly at home this season, they're going to need these fans back on side. And I mean the noise, the intimidation, the aggression of their ultras who decided to disband this week. It looks like the team might have followed suit the way they performed at times today. They were impotent. Manchester City in full control and deserved winners. Sports Bar Weekend are coming up on TalkSport, by the way. Former Liverpool winger Jermaine Pennant alongside Adam Cattrall taking your calls. 03717 223344. Is this a City side who are going to add more talent and who could maybe mount a serious title challenge this season. And Palace fans, back-to-back defeat. Mateta and Sarr out with injury, maybe out of the club soon as well. Who knows? What are your thoughts about that defeat today? Give us a call. No wins yet under new manager Pierre Sarge. Martin Keown alongside me. Another City win. Similar story, really. High quality attacking play. Maybe a couple of hairy moments in defence, but in the end, the quality shone through. Two players in particular, Erling Haaland, devastating finisher. Ryan Cherky, the skill, the creativity, two incredible goals in that second half.
Yeah, Cherky for me has been the standout player since he came from the bench to rescue